Thank you for joining us today at Homestead for Life. Today we are going to can raw chicken with our electric Carey canner. Canning chicken in an electric canner or any canner is one of the easiest things that you're going to be able to can. Simply all you're going to do is cut your raw chicken into roughly 1-inch chunks, fill your jars, pack them down as much as you can to 1-inch headspace, and put half a teaspoon of salt on top, put on your lids, throw them in the canner for 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. So let's get started. We've got our chicken already chopped up. We've got our jars already cleaned and sanitized. We've got our lids simmering in the hot water to soften up those seals. So then we just fill them up. And with this snazzy funnel that I use, 1-inch headspace is to the bottom of the funnel. So I want to fill these up to the bottom. Then I'm going to use the stabby spatula and push everything around, try and get all the air bubbles out. And that is going to free up some more space so I can plug a little bit more in there. And then we're going to throw it in the canner with 8 cups of water for 75 minutes. You can overfill them a little bit initially here because remember we're going to be stabbing them down, making some space. Don't worry, my countertops are clean. I don't start any canning project without cleaning all my surfaces first because it's inevitable that I'm going to drop things. You're going to be able to fit roughly 1 pound of chicken in each jar. Okay, so we're going to take our spatula around the sides, kind of jab down in the center. What we're really doing is moving those air pockets around, getting the air pockets out so we can fit more chicken and still maintain the amount of headspace that we actually wanted. We are not going to add anything else to these besides the salt. So remember, just half a teaspoon of salt. Anytime you're canning something, if you wanted to add additional seasonings, remember to kind of go easy on the seasonings. Everything is going to get kind of supercharged in your canner. It doesn't want to fit. Everything's going to get supercharged in your canner. So if you put seasonings in there, it's going to come out much, much stronger. So you want to go a little easy on your seasonings. And the salt is optional. We are going to wipe the rims of our jars with vinegar. This is going to make sure there's no bacteria, there's no germs, dust, anything on that rim before we put our lid on, so that we can make sure that lid gets a good seal. Now remember, we're simmering those lids to soften up whatever funky glue they put on them so that they seal. So between these two things, we should be good. Now they're simmering, so they're a little warm. Don't stick your fingers in there. If you can stick your fingers in there comfortably, you didn't heat them up right. Gimme, gimme, gimme. There it goes. Okay, and then we are going to add our rings. Just finger tight. So the rings make sure that everything stays sealed up while it's pressure canning. Remember, when we take them out after they cool off, we're going to take the rings off for two reasons. We want to make sure that if there's any moisture, we're not going to get rust around the lids. And also, if your jars do come unsealed for any reason and you have the ring there, it will reseal, or it can reseal. And then you'll never know. Whereas if the ring's not on there holding the lid there, it won't reseal. You're safe. You're going to be able to tell if it's open back up or not. I haven't had any open, but I hear it's a thing. All right, so we have our Carey electric pressure canner. We're going to add 8 cups of water. Our chicken's cold, our jars are cold, our water's cold. Okay? Much easier than the ground beef because we're not having to deal with heating the jars, keeping extra boiling water, anything else. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And we've got our 5 jars in there. We're going to close our lid, seal it. Now that we've got our pressure canner loaded, we are ready to get started. So I've plugged her in. We're going to put the valve on exhaust. We're going to press high, adjust our time to 75 minutes, and press start. What it's going to do is it's going to circle around the dial there, and it's going to build up the temperature and the pressure. Once it's got the right temperature and pressure, it's going to beep and say E something. It counts down from 10 to 0. That's your notification to come in and change your valve to airtight. Okay, that's when your timer starts. When your timer goes off, then what you're going to do is you're going to come in, you're going to unplug it, and you're going to let it sit and naturally release pressure for an hour. So I'll see you in a couple hours when she's all done. Our Carey pressure canner has finished cooking. It's had its hour to naturally release the pressure, and we are ready to open her up and get our jars out. They are always, especially with the wide mouth jars, they're a little snug. So you gotta use a towel to grab the first one. After that, the grippers work perfectly fine to get the rest of them out. And even though they've been sitting for an hour releasing that pressure, they are still a bubbling and a boiling in there. And it looks like we have 3 so far that have already pinged, and I'm sure as they finish and they cool off, the rest will follow. Thank you for joining us at Homestead for Life, and please like and subscribe to our page and put in the comments anything you're interested in learning. Thanks.